I'm Mark Womack, Sports Information Director at Cedarville University, and I'm joined today by DeMaurice Smith, 1985 graduate of Cedarville, former Yellow Jacket track and field athlete, and he is currently the Executive Director of the NFL Players Association and the 2010 Alumnus of the Year at Cedarville University. D, great to have you back on campus. Thanks for your time.
Mark, thrilled to be back. Feels like I'm back home.
Alumnus of the Year of your alma mater. I mean, when you were contacted and when you hear that, what goes through your mind?
Well, immediately, every emotion combines with every really significant event that connects you with this great university. You know, I can look back and Coach King and the 4 years I had here growing as a man in the track of sport, learning from tremendous professors like Gary Persisepi, Dr. Monroe, others, guys who challenged you mentally and emotionally as well. But then to come back home and to be in a position to think about all those things on one great day is really tremendous.
What was your path to Cedarville? I mean, how did Cedarville even become a part of your life and even your family background? What led you here?
Yeah, well, everyone knows I come from a long line of Baptist preachers and went to a Riverdale Baptist High School in right outside of Washington, D.C. And I was firmly committed to trying to play football at a small school. My dad was firmly committed to making sure that his son went into the ministry. So those two things collided a little bit with a default agreement of, look, Cedarville's a great university. Go out, run track, have a good time, and see where the Lord takes you. And came out here, and events conspired in such a tremendous way to keep me here.
We're talking about the early 1980s now. What do you recall coming here, campus life, the culture, academics, what that meant to you?
Well, you know, all of it was both challenging, different, and exciting. I mean, I've always enjoyed pushing myself in a new direction where things may not be the most comfortable, but it's always the most interesting and challenging. So, you know, coming from Washington, D.C. out to Ohio had its own interesting challenges. But look, you know, you end up becoming defined by a number of different things. I always had strong faith, thanks to my family, accepted the Lord as my Savior at a young age. But, you know, probably the seminal event at Cedarville was I had a pretty significant knee injury here that ended any chance of me thinking about playing football anywhere else. For a young athlete, being in a situation where it was the first time I'd really been hurt, and you're in a cast from your heel to your hip for 3 months, and you have to drop out of school, you know, all of those things become defining moments on how, not only on how you're going to respond. I mean, you know you're going to make it through, but what type of man will you be after you're done? So fighting back from that injury, making the track team in that same year, being able to run in March, probably not the fastest guy in the world, but being in a position to get back doing what I loved with the people that I love was a tremendous learning experience.
You mentioned people, the influencers. Expound a little bit more on that. Professors, teammates, classmates, chapel speakers. I mean, what did that all mean to you?
Well, you know, you meet professors like Dr. Murdoch, who challenges not only your comfort level intellectually, but dares you to grow in a way that I'm not sure I could have at any other place. Friends like Jim Atkinson, who I talked to yesterday, sweet mates, people that you live with, who you learn to not only get along with, but you grow together as a young man. And then look, finally being in an environment where there are many things, there are many touchstones that I come back to in my current job, but one that reoccurs frequently are the lessons you learn playing sports. People you've really never met before, people that you find a common bond, learn how to work together with them. You challenge each other on a common mission. There is a tremendous risk of failure that goes along with an incredible opportunity for success. Those are things, those are lessons that I learned here in a tremendous way, and was blessed to be able to learn them in a great institution.
Nice segue into talking about your career as a Yellow Jacket athlete. Talked about people, I think you mentioned Coach King, Elvin and Joyce. I know they're still special to you, a longtime coach here at Cedarville.
Well, look, you come, you're just a young man when you get here, and I'm sure Coach King will tell you that the first year of our relationship was one that had us both hurling at each other at a high rate of speed. I was going to do it my way, and he was going to do it his way. But you know what you do is you learn that despite you know his gruff demeanor, there was a tremendous amount of love that he had for every man that he coached, every woman that he coached, and to be there and grow from a guy who had never really run track before to being lucky enough to be here and win a Christian college championship and become an All-American in that league. You know, I'm not sure if anybody would have predicted that the day that I stepped foot on Cedarville's campus. It seemed to me that the most likely thing that was going to happen was one of us was going to kill each other, and the hand-down favorite was it was going to be him killing me. But you know, you grow through that, and at the end of the day, there probably isn't a person on this campus that I'm closer to.
Yeah, I wanted to point out, I mean, you were part of some successful teams, won a couple of NCCA championships, and I know, in my opinion, going back in history at the NCCA, I think some of the nationals were tougher competitions with the teams there, and you won the 100-meter dash your senior year and got to run the NAI Nationals.
Did. It's fantastic. You know, look, those are things, again, you come out of, you know, a great environment in Riverdale in sports, a great sports tradition. You walk into a university that has a tremendous sports tradition as well, and you're pushed to excel, and it's never comfortable. I am a firm believer in the beauty and mystery of faith because it requires you to take steps not knowing how it's going to end. And you look at what I do right now and people say, well, how in the world do you get through the day, you know, on a stage like this? Faith forces you to take steps where you don't know how they're going to end, but you have a comfort and an understanding that you are not only well prepared for it, but you actually enjoy the challenge.
As an alumni athlete myself, I think of all the teammates that I spent time with. I want to rattle off just a few names, Dee, that you would have been teammates with, and those that follow the athletic program at Cedarville, even the track and field team, and look down the history of honors would recognize some of these. Gary Anderson, Dave Christmas, Clancy Cruz, Clarence Eddy, Scott Haney, Tom Hill, Phil Holbert, Rob Moore, Craig Slater, Tim Walters, almost a who's who of these are some great men.
Well, look, you know, you did mention Jane Romig, Tommy Hill. I saw his picture on the wall as I was on the phone. You know, those are guys that you know, you walk around this campus now, and not only were they tremendous athletes, they were tremendous people. They had such a will for competition. But we had such a love for each other as teammates. We were together with Gary, you know, at a funeral recently, and when I stepped into the room, it was like stepping back in the locker room. And there are days where I can just think back and enjoy the beauty of the camaraderie. But look, I'm sure we would have remained friends if we weren't all good athletes. But at the same time, you were surrounded by people who demanded the best out of themselves, and as a result, we demanded the best out of each other, and that becomes a very special time to grow.
Well, I know academics is important to you, obviously, as all education should be with us, but I can tell that being part of a team just had a tremendous impact in your life.
You know, the world is full of smart people. The difference, I believe, is you find people who have a tremendous sense of mission focus. They are not afraid to take risk, to do the right thing. And this, you know, this culture of an athlete where you are extremely comfortable with the risk of losing in order to perform well and to get it right. That's something you don't find in every person who might be academically brilliant or even a great trial lawyer or a great leader. You know, people say that part of this game is having no fear. I've never really believed that as an athlete. You know that's not true as an athlete. The thing that motivates an athlete is the unbridled fear that you may do something and not achieve, but also that unbridled fear that, you know what, you might just win. And for that one, that'll get you out of bed every morning, that'll get your blood flowing, and it'll put you in the right mindset to take it to the people who are on the other side of you. It'll put